Hello and thanks for joining the first edition of Journalist Hangout. This week, I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. We have 109 more days to the conduct of the 2019 general election in Nigeria. How ready and prepared are you to participate in the process? Today on the program, Senator Ibrahim scores APC government low, predict party's defeat in the Northeast in 2019. Can demand implementation of white paper on past killings as Kaduna relaxes 24 hours curfew. Bandits return to Zamfara. Kills cause raise property, and later on the show, Army confirms killings. Killing three Shiite members in Abuja clash. Claims they try to cut away their ammunitions. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Mayor Akinpelu. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Many thanks for joining us once again. It is often claimed that truth is best served on joyous or sad occasions. The senator representing Yobe East in the National Assembly, Buka Abba Ibrahim, has chosen a joyous occasion to bear it all concerning the political situation in the country and his home state, Yobe. Senator Ibrahim, who spoke at an Abuja event, said Nigerians are worse off under the APC-led government of President Muhammadu Buhari than they were when PDP was in control. The 70-year-old APC senator also sounded an electoral warning to his party, saying, and I quote, "I cannot assume that we can win even with massive rigging." According to him, the APC cannot win the Northeast. Abawajile, where is this coming from? When I got this story, I dug into the background of this senator, and I discovered that he actually lost his ticket, or maybe the power play between him and his successor in Yobe State, and he couldn't get that ticket to go back to the Senate. But the bottom line is that what he is saying is that, look, that APC might not win the Northeast. And knowing that from calculations that we used to make here, the Northeast is one of the strongholds of President Muhammadu Buhari. Now, if a former governor and serving senator is giving this warning notes, what does this portend?
Oh, well, you ask me where it's coming from. It's coming from the rancorous party primaries of the APC. We warned that they should try to organize primaries and they should try to make everyone happy. Because when you go to war with some of your troops angry, then it's difficult to achieve victory. Senator Bukaba Ibrahim was one of the first to complain about the indirect primaries. And he said at that time that the people that as a stakeholder, having been governor for years, two times, and two times, and having been senator for many years, he thought as a stakeholder he ought to be in the know of how decisions were reached, to endorse certain candidates and to decide who will be delegates in the course of the primary election. And he felt that the consultation was not enough. But at the end of the day, the governor had his way, because the powers that be in the APC in Yobe gave the governor the mandate to singularly choose his successor. Now, when some of the people complained, the leadership of the party in Abuja said, okay, let them go for a contest. Don't just bring Maimala Buni alone. Let there be a contest. But of course, you know, the war chest of governors, once they are determined to back a particular candidate, they will do everything possible. So the secretary of the APC National, Maimala Bulne, who was chosen to succeed, who was chosen by Governor Gaidan to succeed him, eventually prevailed, defeated the other aspirants. Initially, he wanted to contest, but suddenly he gave up. He said, well, I'm no longer interested. But you will sense that he didn't give up on a happy note.
As in, the Senator...
Yes.
Ibrahim,
Senator Bukaba Ibrahim. He didn't give up like a happy man. You see, in politics, sometimes I think some of these governors who think they are smart, they will say, oh, I've convinced him, he has agreed to not contest against me or against someone else. But that person will harbor some bitterness. It's just like in Zamfara now, where the governor eventually prevailed on his former godfather, Yerima Bakura Ahmed Sani, to surrender his ticket to him. You would, Yerima Bakura agreed that, okay, now I will now continue to operate like a statesman, elder statesman. I want to even go back to teaching. But behind that statement is a bitter man. So the governor at this time will be happy to see Yerima Bakura working for him, helping him to reach people and all that, believing that he has a loyal man behind him. It's a life on the pit of hell. At any opportunity, if Ahmed Sani gets a chance to pay the governor back, he will seize the opportunity with both hands. This is the way they are.
And that might play out.
This is the way they... If we get... Look at who is the candidate of the PDP now in this election. Is someone who used to be on the cabinet of Ahmed Sani. Are you telling me that Ahmed Sani, who still feels bitter, no matter how he pretends about it, cannot go and back that person? So when Bukaba Ibrahim appeared like, oh, okay, I've forgotten. Me, I knew that in his heart, he still remains a bitter man. It's the nature of politics, and they hardly forgive. They hardly forgive. Nigerian politicians are a devious lot. They hardly forgive. You see them, they will appear like, oh, it's all over. But in their hearts, they harbor animosity. So what Bukaba Ibrahim is saying today, I'm not saying that all of what he's saying is not true. You know that some of these things, we too have talked about it. We have warned them that they should not think that the thing is all sewn up. We have warned them to stop this habit of constantly criticizing the past government, that they should advertise themselves, show what they have done. Let Nigerians see the good things that they are doing. We say that a lot, but if you say it today, the vice president the next day will say, why are they saying we should not talk about the past? They don't see what some of us see, that selling yourself is much better than demarketing the enemy. They don't see it. All they do, all they enjoy is just talk about the past. Politicians are set in their ways. So what he's saying is not that some of them are not true, but to say they will not win in the Northeast is strictly his opinion. And if you ask me, I still see the APC winning the Northeast. Forget about the fact that Atiku is from the Northeast. I don't see that happen. I think that the opinion, what he has said, is strictly his opinion, and what the party leaders need to do is to try to resolve disputes that have arisen from the rancorous primaries and then set the party on the path of victory and not care so much about what this man is saying, because I know they could let loose some people now who will be abusing him. It really makes no sense to start abusing him because he has nothing to lose. So they should just look, okay, what do we do? How do we ensure that victory, even in places where we thought that, look, whatever happens, we'll win, how do we ensure that we do not relax?
Mayor, what do you take from the message of Senator
Ibrahim? What I want to take from it is that the man has, what the man has said is correct. I think APC will not win Northeast. And why I think APC will not win Northeast is because Abubakar Atiku is from the Northeast. Apart from Tafawa Balewa, nobody from Northeast has been opportune to lead this country. There's tendency for people to try to rally around Atiku Abubakar in that zone. And don't forget that within the Gombe zone in the northeast, Dan Kwambo is very strong and it's on ground there. So I think PDP is going to have a very good showing. And what he's saying, yes, I agree that he saw grapes, because if he had been nominated again, he would probably have not said those things. But it is important for us to look at it from the face value and look at it. That is why I told some people, and I'm saying it again, that the election next year is going to be very close. Picking Atiku Abubakar is a game changer, and it's going to be very close. I believe that President Buhari will probably marginally beat him, but it's going to be very, very close. And that is dependent on the fact that, one, President Buhari must come up with the kind of figures that he came up with in the Northwest in 2015, where you get 2 million in Kano and all that. If he doesn't do that and get enough votes from the Southwest, he will lose that election. Why? Because PDP will probably win South-South. They will probably win Southeast. Because of the herdsmen problem, they will probably win North-Central. So it is the Northeast that is in play. The president will win Northwest. He will win Southwest. The luck that the president, the advantage of the president is that Northwest and Southwest have the highest votes in those zones. You understand? So if you can do well in those zones, get on the fight, then do extremely well. Yes, do extremely well in Northwest and Southwest, and then do fairly well in all the other zones, will probably win. If he doesn't do that, we may be in for a shocker. Because already, Atiku Abubakar had advantage in about 3-4 zones out of the 6 zones. But like I said, when you look at the Northwest zone, it's more or less more than North Central, Southeast put together. So that is why what he has said is saw grapes, but it is a serious message to APC that if they don't solve the problem, if they don't handle the effect of their primaries properly, they will be in for a shocker next time.
Jude, objectively, this man said Nigerians are worse off under the APC-led governments of, President Muhammadu Buhari than they were when PDP was in control. So let's put this in perspective. Yeah. Are Nigerians worse off?
It depends on what you are looking at. In some areas, yes. In some areas, yes. And I think that's the point that I made. He said in some areas we are worse off. That we've not done. But if you look at even the youth unemployment, for example, youth unemployment from 11.7% when Jonathan left office to 30%. This is from the Office of the Statistician General of the Federation, who is a government appointee. Some of those figures are not palatable at all, but people will argue that, well, a government that has come to institute change, people must be ready to bear some pain. No doubt about it that there are areas that desperately need improvement. But there are areas too where progress is being made, where the people in government talk less about it and focus more on frivolities, focus more on demarketing the enemy. That is their focus. You are doing great things in some areas. You hardly talk about it. One day we were talking about some of the things that they are doing that they are really not talking about. And someone called me and said, you mean this government is doing this government is doing that? Look at the progress being made in rail transport, for example. That has not happened in many years. Has not happened in many years. No government has shown that kind of commitment. And by the time the Lagos-Ibadan route, the railway route, is complete, in 50 minutes, you can move from Ibadan to Lagos. So you can actually walk in Lagos and live in Ibadan. After our houses here too.
They will just abandon that road.
And what it then means is that if we decongest, if we do something about the unnecessary focus on Lagos, even rent will crash. So there are some things for the future, you know, but let them even talk about the things they are doing. I saw even something that Atiku wrote, that focus on your achievements. Talk about your achievements. Why is there a reluctance to talk about your achievements? Why is your focus mainly on the past? The man who dwells on the past clearly does not appreciate the value of the future. But this is the way these guys are hurting themselves without knowing, and they are so gripped by their own desire to do what they think is right, to even try to tweak their strategy. It's just like a coach who has no plan B. Oh, all you want to do is just pass the ball right into the net. Now, if you face an opponent that blocks the space, that attacks the space, so what do? You continue to play the same way, and then you won't achieve results. So, no doubt about it, this man said some things. We know that all he's saying is largely because the primaries didn't go the way he likes. And he's not the only one. Even the APC House of Reps members, senators, they issued a similar statement condemning their party. So, I don't understand the nature of politicians, whereby you are not thinking about the whole, you are simply thinking about yourself. And if things go wrong for you, then you try to bring down the entire superstructure. It makes no sense. Politicians shouldn't have this kind of nature. And for a man who has benefited so much in politics, his family has benefited so much. Khadija is back again, is going back to the House of Reps. She was there for, I think, 2 or 3 terms. She's going back. So I don't think that it makes sense to talk like this. When we look at even the Northeast that he's talking about, you look at a state like Borno, it's more like a one-party state. Your party must have structures in a state to think of winning. So if you have not built sufficient structures in those states, you can't win. It's just, I came from Enugu the other day. I went to Enugu. I know that Enugu is more or less like a one-party state for the PDP. And the bringing in of Ebiano now to contest the senatorial seat makes the PDP stronger even in Enugu state. There are realities that people must live with. In Borno state, it's a one-party state. And I'm waiting to be proved right. And of all those states in the Northeast, Borno has the greatest population. And then you look at Yobe. I don't see PDP winning Yobe. I don't see PDP winning Yobe. So probably a state where they can win, even if it's 3-3. If Atiku tries to win his local state, Adamawa, and wins Taraba, they've always won Taraba.
That's PDP's
Gombe.
fortress.
There is a serious crisis for the PDP in Gombe. That's why I cannot even bank on. You saw what happened during the primaries. They beat each other. So even Gombe, PDP is not certain of winning because of the crisis that erupted from their primaries. So even if they split the states, let's give it to Atiku that is likely to clinch his own state. People usually like to vote for a presidential candidate that comes from their place. It happens to Shagari. Shagari in 1978, it was the GMPP of Wazir Ibrahim that was strong in Sokoto State. But the moment Shagari, against all expectations, emerged as the candidate of the MPN, things changed and Shagari was able to clinch his state. So even if they share it 3-3, I still believe that in terms of population, the number of votes that will come from Buhari's side, I still believe that he will win Northeast.
Your final take on this?
Yeah, I don't agree with him that we are worse off. I don't agree. And I also believe that APC has not done well because they campaign on 3 planks: security, economy, and corruption. And they've not done well in all the 3. In the economy, they've done fantastically well when it comes to infrastructure. Like you said, rail and roads, they've done very well there. They've done reasonably well in energy. They've not done anything in housing, but they've done relatively well in energy. They've done infrastructure. But when you look at the economy, they've not stimulated the economy enough. So it does not translate to naira and kobo for the common man. And you know security.
That's what matters the most.
Yes.
So in an election year.
In an election year. So
I always mention what happened in India. Prime Minister Vajpayee was extremely popular across the world because he's the architect of the economic boom in India. But the Congress party leader, Sonia Gandhi, was going to rural communities to campaign. He said, look, you have not benefited anything from the prosperity of India. India is making so much money from IT and other facets of the economy. But you have not benefited. Show me where you are benefited. And he was going to those slums. And the greater people of India, the greater number of people live in the slums. So no matter how well you are doing in the economy, you must find a way to improve the welfare of the people. Otherwise, it could be a tool for the opponent to campaign.
All right, we have to move on. Now, there has been suggestions across various divides that impunity and alleged injustice fuel ethno-religious uprisings in Nigeria. Lives are lost, but no arrest is ever made to bring perpetrators to book. The Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, is also accusing the federal government of handling the rampaging killers in Kaduna State and other north-central states with kid gloves. CAN President Samson Olashupo, in a statement, said such should not be allowed to go unchecked. The body demanded the implementation of white papers of previous ethno-religious killings in Benue, Plateau, Nasarawa, and Taraba states. Meanwhile, the 24-hour curfew imposed on Kaduna metropolis has been relaxed as we hope for a lasting peace in that state. Mayor, the Christian Association of Nigeria, they are so worried about, what is happening in the North Central. And, those states, some of them are dominated by Christians naturally. Plateaus of this world, the Benue of and when you want to look at the constant crisis.
I tend to agree with them. I personally am disappointed in the way that this government has handled security. I felt in 2015 that one of the strong points for President Buhari was because he was a general in the army who fought battles and wars. You will have a better template to be able to handle the security situation. But I cannot say that things are better in the security fold. I don't think so. And I think the problem has to do with the fact that this government, and I'm saying it with every sense of responsibility, this government does not have the will to handle security. Because all over the world...
The president is a retired general.
That's what I'm saying. All over, it's because he doesn't have the will to do it. All over the world, criminals know that if you allow them to get away with anything, then you have problems. That is why anywhere you must send a message that, look, this will not be tolerated. And if you do it, you must be ready to do the time. But these people, every time, the security will do their best at a point, things will look as if it has normalized, then they come back. And they start doing it again, and it becomes a vicious circle, and we keep doing that. And it's because the government does not show willpower. They put politics into things, they put interest, political interest, and geopolitical interest into certain things, and that cannot solve the problem. It is important that most of these people are bandits. So they are committing crime, and the state should, the full wrath of the law should be bear on them. But if the government thinks they can play politics with security, that is why we are, because the state of insecurity in this country is alarming. If you are not hearing herdsmen today, you are hearing some bandits in Zamfara. You are hearing kidnapping in the south. Armed robbery is back on our roads. With full force, it's back on our roads. And the level of security in this country is alarming. And I don't think this government has done well.
Jude, the Christian Association of Nigeria complaining that all the recommendations and everything, gathering dust somewhere.
It's true that those white papers are never implemented. In Kaduna, for example, we've been having this riot since even the 80s, 87, 1992, even before the advent of partisan politics. We've been having these killings. Why have we not been able to stop these killings? It's because we don't punish offenders. Those who have made a career out of inciting our people, clerics who incite people to violence, how many of them have we put on trial? We have to make examples of people killing people for the basis of religion. These things, a lot of these killings have nothing to do with the government. I disagree totally that the government is playing politics with these things. What has held us down is our inability to even, the inability of the security agencies to even adapt to the changing methods of the enemy. For example, the enemy in the northeast, Boko Haram, is constantly changing its strategy. We are too static to respond efficiently to those changing dynamics. You go to the North Central, it's the same thing. We are unable, we make progress today, we relax a little bit, and those guys change tactics. Look at what is happening in Zamfara, it's the same thing. When we sent the Air Force, they made gains. Within the first few days, they made gains. We praised them. But suddenly, they are back in full force, and they've changed tactics. They now stay on the highway. So they do their kidnapping now. They block the highway, the Talata Mafara highway, heading to Sokoto. They block it for some time. Within that time, they seize the people that they can seize, take them into the bush. So they are no longer staying in those forests where they could be easily bombed by the Air Force. So you see the dynamism that is coming into play. So we too must constantly hone our skills, constantly adapt to the changing methods of the enemy. And if the president has said, look, because I heard him say it when he went to Mambila, if the president says, you have my mandate, kill anybody that you find carrying an AK-47, whether it's Fulani or not. He said it. And he admitted right there that many of the Fulani are not even Nigerians. So if security agencies fail to carry out the president's order to the letter, I think that we must give the president a benefit of the doubt. That was why some time ago here I was praising the police commissioner in Katsina State, because he went after Fulani herdsmen who were carrying AK-47, and he disarmed them. I even met him physically. They call him Dogo, the police commissioner there. I said, well done for disarming these people. He paraded their guns. He did, and he is Fulani himself. He didn't say, these are my tribe people. He disarmed them. That's how you can have peace. Follow take the instruction of the president, carry it out of the letter.
I have Collins from Lagos. Thank you. Okay, Collins is calling us from UK. Thank you for joining us, Collins.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Femi Idowu here.
Okay, Femi Idowu.
No, my name is Femi Idowu.
Okay, go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, there can be no question that the buck must stop. The buck must stop on the desk of the president of Nigeria. There's no question, Jide, as much as I admire your objectivity, government cannot be absolved of the blame. This government has to answer queries. This government is not responding well to the security of the country. There is no alibi for it. And one feels extremely saddened that we are at this point now. There is no way anybody can excuse Buhari from all of this.
Thank you. Thank you, Femi from the United Kingdom. Femi,
directly
saying the buck stops on the table of Mr. President.
It's easy to say that. It's easy to say the buck stops on someone's table.
But it does.
But hold on now, I know where I'm going. But the people who have been given the responsibility, how many of them are carrying out that responsibility with patriotism? With patriotism.
They are officials of government.
No, It's not just people who work with him in Aso Road that we are talking about.
No, I'm not talking about.
Why did I mention? No, they are not. It's not something for the service chiefs alone to deal with. We are talking about security problems across the country.
I know. I'm talking about
policemen. Where you put policemen, where you put police commissioners, yes. People must play their part.
I agree.
People must play their part.
And if they don't do their part, the president should do something about it.
You see, the thing is we must encourage people to play, forget about ethnicity, do what is right. Always. They've been told to do it. They've been told to do it. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. Why did I single out the police commissioner for praise? Because I can see him doing what some of his colleagues are not doing.
He has done well, yes. I agree with you on that. So
this thing is easy to say, oh, is this person that is to blame? Where I work here, I expect my correspondent in Abuja to not mislead me. Because when you mislead me, and then I put a story on air, the station gets embarrassed. If you mislead me, you can be fired.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's your own duty to make sure that you do that job diligently.
So if the security people,
the Yorubas
don't do it, the president should do something about it.
I'm saying that what you are talking about probably sack service chiefs.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
No, you see that. So he would. Are you saying that the president will now go to the level of DPOs and be sacking DPOs and other people?
No, the president can sack service chiefs. In fact, the service chiefs are supposed to be sacked.
So even if he sacks service chiefs, if we don't change our attitude, if people will not carry out their functions because of ethnic considerations and all that, we will not solve this problem. It's easy to say, oh, it's the president.
Let's wrap up. Let me give you an example. Okay. When we used to have a lot of challenges when it comes to certain crime, kidnapping, armed robbery, specialized something. But they brought Abakari from Lagos, created something in the office of the Inspector General, and they are working.
Is it how many kidnapping does Abakari crack in a week?
No.
Every day they are kidnapping people in Zamfara.
I know.
Has he been able to solve the problem?
No, what I'm saying is that if we can see that if we put some unit, they are doing things, then we should replicate that all over the country. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
when you give people responsibility, they must be seen to have done that. If they don't do it, then they show up.
The problem, you see, with the solution is not simply in blaming our leaders. As individuals, what are we doing to solve problems? It's so convenient. I can sit here and say, oh, blame the president for everything. Oh, the bus stops at this table.
Of course, it stops there.
It stops there.
The president.
It stops there, but
I'm not the president.
Hold on. You see, if you are the president,
yes,
you will not be able to solve all the problems of Nigeria.
Of course.
I'm saying,
the president.
You know the thing is, I'm saying that
we're out of time.
You are saying that even in remote communities where the president does not have even access to, people who are mandated to protect, even governors, they have to play their part. Everybody is pressing El-Rufai the way he has responded to this thing. In fact, there's a video of El-Rufai personally even looking into vehicles, joining the security people in trying to fish out people who are carrying weapons around. If we all play our part as a people, and we know that security is a collective responsibility, our country will be better.
Yes, I agree.
You can't just be blaming the president for everything.
Okay, that's the video of the governor.
There was someone that we interviewed, they said even during the military era that they didn't handle this situation better than the way El-Rufai has handled it. That's the point.
All right, we need to move on. Still to come, bandits return to Zamfara, kills cause, raise property. It's still journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this timeout. Please stay with us. Welcome back. It's still journalist Hangout. Now, the Zamfara banditry debacle is assuming a dangerous vicious circle, with another round of killings and arson reported over the weekend. The state appears to be at the mercy of bandits. On Friday, some bandits struck the town of Gobimbori in Zomi local government area of the state, killing scores of innocent people and raising many property to ashes. Governor Abdulaziz Jari, who regretted the attack after months of relative peace in the state, appealed to security agents to intensify efforts at tackling the menace once and for all. Let us give you the story as packaged by our correspondents from Zamfara State.
community is at the border between Katsina and Zamfara states. 9 p.m. on Friday, the 26th of October 2018, will remain an unforgettable experience for residents of this community. According to eyewitness accounts, more than 100 armed bandits unexpectedly attacked this community.
More than 100 fully armed bandits came to our community and started shooting sporadically. They burned 15 vehicles. They also burgled and burned many shops. I saw them when they were throwing away breads, shooting and setting vehicles ablaze.
The attackers were said to have simultaneously launched the attack from 3 different locations: a primary school, a hospital, and from a police checkpoint. The people lament that they have been neglected by the government because they find it difficult to visit the local government headquarters for fear of attacks along the way. Women and children could be seen crossing the border into Katsina State or the neighboring Niger Republic, which is just a stone throw from this community. The people are appealing for a military patrol team to be stationed in this community to provide respite from the occasional attacks of these armed bandits.
We need a very huge armies that can protect, and at any given time they can rescue and, let me say, protect the whole town and with the people around this very town. Because if you can see, so many people are packing their loads, they are leaving the town. Some of them, they didn't even know where they're heading to.
The residents say the bandits attacked the community for about 2 hours in retaliation to what the military is doing to them in the state.
Well, Zamfara.
It's a very sad situation. Sad situation because the military cannot be everywhere.
Overstretched.
They're overstretched already. They cannot be everywhere. And these bandits, what they are doing is easy. They leave areas that they believe that they don't want to confront the military. So they look for vulnerable areas where they know that the military or the presence of the military is not around. So I think we have to find a strategy where we will rely more on intelligence than actual warfare. Because if we must be able to play much emphasis on intelligence, so intelligence will be able to know prior to these attacks, and they will be able to now move soldiers around or the forces around. Because it's not possible to station, if they station a garrison there, the bandits won't go there. They will go to somewhere else, where they know that they'll be vulnerable. And so they have to now look more for intelligence so that it is possible for them to. But apart from that, we have to tell our governors to try to do more. I know, yes, most of the governors are frustrated that they call them the chief security officer of the state, but in actual fact, they are not. But at the same time, most, if not, it's not most, all the governors collect huge amount of money as so-called security votes. And their own security vote is to just turn it to pocket money for themselves. So they should spend more, they should sit down with this quality. They must be able to have an holistic approach to solving crime in their state and be able to work with the security agencies more. That must be if they spend more money on intelligence, there are people within those bandits that can give information. And they will know that, oh, they are coming at so time to do that, and then the forces can be moved around to do that. So I think the governors should also do more and spend the money that they claim they are collecting, the money they collect every month for security, they should spend it on the security. So that it should be security votes, truly, and not pocket money.
Babajide, Zamfara is on the news again. For some time, we thought we had respite.
That's what I talked about earlier. It's not enough. The security agencies did well for a few weeks. Now they've lost control again because the bandits want to survive. This is their own meal ticket. They want to survive. And once you try to block them, from attacking communities, you are gunning for them in their hideouts. They will become more mobile. This is what we are seeing. Now, this community that was attacked is just 1 hour drive to Niger Republic. So once they attack, they can run into Niger Republic where there's nothing our forces can do to them. So this is, or they run into Katsina territory to go and hide. So this is what is going on. Today, about 2-3 hours ago, they blocked the highway. You know, the same Zurumi highway, they blocked it, and then they made some kidnaps as well. Today, the same local government. So it's easy to say, oh, security men go out and flush these people. But since they are constantly on the move, since they are constantly changing tactics, it has become difficult for our security agencies. And then we have to even look at even the equipment deployed. Because we do not have enough Mi-35. When Boko Haram attacked Gashigar, they had to use they attacked an army base there. I'm sure you must have seen some pictures today of injured soldiers. They had to deploy 2 Mi-35 and other equipment to be able to rescue the army base from these guys. As they are keeping you busy in the northeast, the bandits too, they are keeping you busy. They are overstretching even the capacity of the Air Force to respond effectively to all of these attacks. Because this is not the kind of warfare that our armed forces are used to. So they are not static. They operate on motorbikes. Each of with at least 2 persons on a motorbike, each of them carrying an AK-47. And what they do, once they seize a police checkpoint, they first start by attacking the police post in that community. They destroy the police post. That way they can have a free rein to do what they like. And it's on those drums that you see, the drums that are used to man the checkpoints. That is where they put their machine gun, and they'll be firing at people. So these guys are well armed and they are mobile. If we do our best to secure our borders, we will solve a lot of this problem. When I went to see the victims of this banditry in Zamfara, they told me that the people coming to kill them are not Nigerians. They told me that they are the Fulani from Niger Republic. So as long as they have free access to come into our country, to kill people, we will not be able to solve this problem. Do you know that there was a time that these bandits came into Katsina? They chased them into Niger Republic. And the governor of Katsina had to do a meeting with the prefect of Maradun Prefecture. He had to do a meeting with the leader there. And that one, now they arrested those cattle rustlers right inside the Niger Republic, and they put them on trial. I can tell you that since that time, Katsina has been a lot safer. And Katsina, why is it? Those states are close to one another. Even this town that they attacked is close to Jibia, which is in Katsina. That's the border with Niger Republic. How come we don't experience this kind of attacks? So people on their own should devise means of solving their local problems, local security problems. Everybody must be involved. Even the press, the government of the day, get involved. Get on the street. Let people see you that you are trying to solve the problem. As El-Rufai has done in a manner that has impressed me. He's visiting people's homes, going around, joining them even 2 a.m., 3 a.m., to monitor the security situation. That's the way it should be. We can't say that, oh, someone will far away in Abuja should come and solve the problem for you. It won't happen. You will wait and wait. You can abuse that man till kingdom come. The problem will remain. That is the thing. Those governors need to do a lot more. Governor Masari, I will continue to respect him because he came up with an ingenious plan. In the past, they used to kill us more than 100 in one day in Katsina. That is no longer happening. How did he solve the problem? So let others take a cue. Instead of lamenting that, oh, they are killing my people, they are killing my people, they are not doing enough to save us. No, find a way to solve the problem.
Okay, I think we have to leave it there and move to our final topic. Now, when two opposing ideas or groups find it hard to yield ground, then the clashes will be inevitable. Members of the Islamic Movement of Nigeria, IMN, and the army clashed in Abuja on Sunday. The army confirmed that 3 members of the sect died in the confrontation with the troops, while 2 soldiers sustained very degree of injuries. Commander of the Army Headquarters Garrison, Abuja, Major General James Yam, said the Shiite members allegedly attacked the troops on their way to another mission and attempted to cut away ammunition and missiles they were transporting. The clashes between these 2 groups are becoming just too many. Here is what we have from Zuba.
Ya kama soja da na tuban shi Allah. Wallahi. Wallahi. Ai roshin nasu dan uwar su. Ai roshin nasu dan uwar su. Kariya ne. Kariya ne. Kariya ne. Nalai. Nalai. Loi con đi nalai. Nalai.
Gentlemen, what is happening there? Because I don't know. These people, they are not even afraid of even the security presence.
I think the problem is a tragedy. Why it's a tragedy is that both sides have faults. The Shiites have always, they've become a law unto themselves for a long time. And they used to, when they want to do their procession, they used to do whatever they like. And I think maybe some people felt, let's just allow them some time to do whatever they want to do so that we can have peace. And I think since they had that issue with the Army General, with the Chief of Army Staff, it has now become a major crisis. I think that the security of the country is supreme. I concede that. But I also believe that everybody has fundamental rights. It's enshrined in our Constitution. So if government, in its wisdom, believe that this man has done things that shouldn't have been done, then they take him to court, let the court decide his fate. Keeping him in detention in perpetuity when there's no way his followers will not react. I think the problem we have now is that we've gone to what happens in Gaza, where stone-throwing mob is facing people with AK-47. I don't think that's the kind of scene we want to see in our country. And I think one of the best ways to do that is for government to take their leader to court. Let the court decide if the man has done things that deserve for him to be kept behind bars, then he will be kept behind bars. But to put there's a lacuna there because now the government has detained the man for close to 2 years now. So his followers, every time, you know that this is not the first time they will do that. Sometimes they will come and try to agitate to say, okay, you have to release our leader. And then you will now see soldiers shooting because when you are faced with the mob, as a soldier, you are trained to defend yourself. And then these people are just throwing you on the stones. And this is not the kind of thing we want to see in our country.
Jide, what do you make of this situation?
Well, you see, first and foremost, the standard procedure is not for the armed forces to move ammunition in daytime. It's not done anywhere. And the Chief of Army Staff knows that. Ammunition like missiles, the civil populace shouldn't even know how missiles
Correct,
look.
yes.
You don't move missiles in daytime. They know it. Burate knows it. It's generals who advise him, they know it, that they don't move such caliber of weapons in daytime. There's no way it's done. It's like in our country, everything is just inverted. That is not to justify the conduct of the Shiites, because they are claiming that the Shiites wanted to seize their weapons. It's difficult for me to believe that with bare hands and stones, you want to seize missiles. To do what with missiles? They are transporting the missiles to the army depot in Zaria. That's the central for such equipment. They are transferring them in daytime around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, which is wrong. And then they encountered, even if they want to do some maneuvers, some training, they always inform the public that, please don't be scared. It's just a routine training for the army. You see them, jogging in public, on the highway. They tell you, don't panic. Not to talk of moving missiles and other high caliber munition.
Okay.
So now the thing is, the Shia people, if they say they want to make processions, it is within their right to make processions. But you cannot block the highway. Today, I saw that a part of the highway, vehicles could pass. In fact, I delay the arm for the security forces. Police should protect them as they move through. As they do their procession. It happens even in Iraq. They do their procession. So now, but to block the highway and make life difficult for other people.
Highway, yes.
People could die. Those who are asthmatic, they could die in that process. Making life difficult for other people because you want to exercise your own right to freedom of movement is unacceptable. And I think that also confronting the armed forces, stoning them, is not the right thing. In my view, going forward, I believe that the police should be the ones who will handle these people, because the soldiers are not good at handling this kind of situation, because they are going to use live ammunition. They'll use live ammunition, which is wrong, and it's giving Nigeria a bad name. Why is it that people don't want to sell weapons to Nigeria? They state it clearly that they will use the weapon against their citizens. Maybe our soldiers read these things. So the soldiers should not be the ones to confront these people. The police would do a better job because they are trained to handle protests that
in that situation that the soldiers, let's say the soldiers were carrying their ammunition through and this thing happened, what would you have expected the soldiers to do? Those guys are throwing stones. As they were moving.
It depends on whose story you believe now.
Correct.
Because the army said that they wanted to loot their weapons. And that it was at that point that they opened fire. But the guy said no, that was when soldiers opened fire on them that they decided to stone them. Clearly they don't, you will call them terrorist group, but you've not found any weapon on them. You see the processions all the time, but they are becoming more and more violent. We've seen them kill policemen. So the leaders of the group need to talk to themselves, because the more they confront the security agencies the way they are doing, the more they will suffer casualties.
I think they're ready to die. I want to thank you, Mayor Akinpolu.
Don't just say they are ready to die.
Elsewhere,
let me tell you, elsewhere, even in Greece, they won't use live ammunition on them. There's something that is called disproportionate force, disproportionate response to aggression. If someone stones you and you respond with live ammunition, it's already disproportionate response to aggression. So abroad, they will even carry them, they will be lifting them away from that area. They will use water cannons on them. You will disperse them with hot water. I don't even know whether the police still have such things. They will disperse them. You will see larger crowds rioting in China and other places now.
You have to go. Mayor Akinpolu, thank you. And welcome back. Thank you. Mayor just had to come all the way. Thank you. Welcome back. And Babajide Kolade Toji, thank you for being there always. And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. And we're also on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Ozubaku. Bye for now. See you tomorrow.